Okay, and here we go again, another 5 minutes of tefillah. We are on the last portion of Kriya, Ois Zayin. We've been dealing with this type of tefillah called Kriya, the recognition that Hashem is Panim al Panim, Hashem is right opposite us. And today, Rishim Shabingis begins the final section by explaining a very fundamental idea when it comes to tefillah. And he begins by saying that tefillah is called Avaida, as we've said many times, that Ulavdai b'chol levavchem. You serve Hashem, Avaida. What's Avaida shebelieve? How do you serve Hashem with your heart? That is tefillah. That is with prayer. Explains Rav Shimshon Pincus. This is like an eved, like one is serving in front of Hashem with the understanding that he's asking in front of God. Very simple. But says Rav Shimshon Pincus, let's go a bit deeper. He says that aside from the fact that, of course, you're serving Hashem with your heart, he says we see an incredible yesod in the way that Hashem runs the whole world. And with that understanding, it takes on a newfound appreciation of how our tefillahs work. What does this mean? He says as follows. Aside from the fact that we're davening to God, the entity that could do anything, will do everything. Hashem, the Kol Yachol, could change everything in an instant. That's absolutely true. But he says there's another thing, another avenue that our tefillahs could work as. What's that avenue? It's called Teva. It's called Hishtadlus. There's the way that Hashem made this world work. And when we follow the rules, the world works. Hishtadlus. Just like no one sits at home and says, okay, Hashem's going to make it rain down money on me. No, there's something called Hishtadlus. One needs to do what is necessary within his world, within his level of bitachon, to supply for himself and his family. Hishtadlus. Says Rav Shimshon Pincus, Tefillah is a form of Hishtadlus. That when Hashem created the world, He imparted into this world that Tefillah works. So when we're davening, aside from the fact that we're tapping into, talking to, beseeching, imploring, begging the Creator of the world, the Adonai, my personal master, the Adonai Kol. But there's something very fundamental as well that's happening, is we're doing Hishtadlus, we're davening, and that's the way Hashem made this world work. And he says, let's take this one step deeper. He says that there's two ways that Hashem runs this world. There's Anhagas Malchusa Dirakia, that Hashem runs this world from the heavens, and Anhagas Malchusa Dirakia, Ke'in, similar Malchusa Da'ara, meaning that Hashem masks himself and clothes himself in what the regular workings of the world are and allows it to work. So just like he says, if you go over to someone with money and you ask them for money, the Hishtadlus is to ask them and they'll give you. When we ask Hashem, aside for the avenue that Hashem can help us, that He runs the whole world, there's the avenue of Hishtadlus. There's an avenue that we're walking over to the money man, that we're walking over to the doctor, that we're walking over to the person that controls wars, and we're asking him to help us, and he's holding the controls. And that works in the Mahalech, what he calls Teva, which is a fascinating, eye-opening explanation when we realize that our tefillahs don't necessarily have to change the whole world, and we don't need to tap into Hashem working as this entity that controls the whole world, which is incredible, but it as well, tefillah could work in a very natural, normal, hishtadlus, Teva Dika form that Hashem had built into the world. And now he takes this one step deeper, and this is the point that we're going to have to pick up with tomorrow, is that when we say in Shemoneh Esrei, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Roifei Chaylei Amo Yisrael, that we bless Hashem, and we thank Him that He's the doctor, the Roifei Chaylei of Klal Yisrael. And tomorrow we're gonna paint this picture, how there's a doctor for Klal Yisrael particularly, and seemingly then there's the doctor for the whole world. But just to leave off with one nice point, he says that when you get into a specialist, think about it. He says the following line, and tomorrow we're going to elaborate on this. Havin kama pshutim are the words, Keni Hashem roif echa. Hashem says, I'm your doctor. He says it's like a professor telling his patient, Ani roifei shalach. I'm your doctor. Mamish kipshutai. Just like the professor doesn't care about if the patient is a good guy, is not a good guy. Hashem doesn't have to look deep into our ways. This is more along the lines of the Hishtadlus that we're going to talk about tomorrow, that Hashem is our personal doctor, and we'll explain this point a little bit more tomorrow in Mirza Hashem.